Hi, everybody, wherever you may be from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. Welcome back to your solar weather update. This is going to cover the weekend here from Friday the 27th through Sunday the 29th of January. First, let's jump into the A1A, and there's some hope here. Let's take a quick look at it. If you take a look around 8 o'clock, that's a new sunspot region that's coming. The problem is most of them on the northern hemisphere of sun is going away. So we need to get some reinforcements in pretty quickly. The magnetosphere view really shows everything and how things are going. Again, the northern hemisphere has all the sunspot regions, and then down south, we're going to start getting a sunspot that's going to add to everything. So hopefully by the weekend, we start getting some reinforcements and some stabilizing of the SFI drop we've seen since last weekend, since, Sunday. Here's your coronal hole map. 72 is there, and that's not too bad, just a little bit of a coronal hole. And hello, Eamon. Glad that this worked out. It's a brand new system that this software company that I use for YouTube and radio shows, and it's awful. I mean, the echo I'm hearing is terrible. So I'm glad you're here in the show, and I'm sorry if there's an echo on your end. I'm actually kind of testing this out. So the solar flare detection, this gives us an idea. Things are quieting down from our sun. This is a declining solar period, and we're not going to be bad. I mean, we got spoiled at 200 plus, right? We're in the 230s, and then things just started to slowly settle down, and that's what's to be expected during any solar cycle. So here we go with the global D-layer absorption, about normal, right about 12 megahertz now. The people in Australia later today are going to be working 40 meters. You get maybe 3 dB of attenuation, but that would be to be expected. Solar indices today, SFI is 151. That's down 21 from yesterday. That's a pretty healthy jump. So we've got and thank you, Paul. Don't hear an echo. That's great. I'm really grateful because I certainly do. Sunspot number, the smooth sunspot number is 104, down 36. Area numbers at 280, that's really down. Look at that, down 810 points. So some very healthy drops from our sun the last day here. So real-time solar wind, you can see we've got some spurts of some heavier solar wind coming our way, 528.3 kilometers per second. And the BC latitude, this is going to be the way it is today, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to be up and down. So north and south, there will be some definite QS Baker on the bands, whether in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere. KP index just below at KP3. That would be unsettled, but still decent conditions here for this weekend. Last few days here of the KP index, no higher than 3. So that's good, not bad. 3-day geomagnetic forecast. This is great news. See how our numbers start to decline through Sunday, which is really good. So noise floors, expect them to start to go down tomorrow and then even lower on Sunday. Could be S0 to S1. QRZ conditions, SFI 151, sunspot numbers 84. A index is a little high at 11. That's because of the solar wind. It's just a little high there, and it's putting a little more radiation from the sun than we normally have into our ionosphere. So that's why we have an A index of 11. K is only at 2 here on the QRZ, and you see the minus BZ latitude of 0.5. The actual current key BZ is, the current KP is just below a 3 at this point. So this information is just a little bit late here. And the HF conditions definitely going to be different than what we see here. I definitely think you're going to see some 10 meters over most of the world today. In fact, the northern hemisphere has it very, very good today and tomorrow and Sunday. Some amazing conditions to work 10. So let's get to that MUF map here. This is how it looks as of 1600 UTC, and we'll get a little closer look at the northern hemisphere first. Look at the MUFs there in Europe. They're fantastic. I mean, we're looking at 10 meters in the part of the middle part of the day, all the way into the middle parts of Sweden and Norway. I mean, these are great conditions. So expect some 10 meters as far north as most likely Fairbanks in North America, and definitely the mid part, I should say, of Sweden and Norway for 10 meters. It'll work terrific south, and it'll work great to the west to you as well. Here's the look at the southern hemisphere, and this is where things change just a little bit. 10 meters going north in the southern hemisphere. This is kind of the same pattern that we saw last summer here in the northern hemisphere. Remember, we had some good SFIs, but we didn't have 10 meters. 10 meters was just south in Mexico and South America, if you're in the northern hemisphere, so just south of Europe, basically in the Middle East and Africa. This is basically what's happening now in the southern hemisphere. You see 10 meters is open in South America as well as in Africa, but look how far south it doesn't go. 10 meters, right about 40 degrees or so, a little south of there, maybe to 50 degrees. But for places like Australia, that could mean a big difference here. So Melbourne may not get on 10 today. Canberra and Sydney could get 10. That's the way it looks tomorrow and Sunday, same conditions. If you get 10 meters in places like Canberra, Sydney, Brisbane, those are going to be areas where you don't get it for a long time. You'll find a lot of people there who are astute amateur operators working most likely on the 15 meter and 12 meter band because that'll be where their maximum usable frequency is. The amateur radio and shortwave DX forecast through Sunday, SFIs continue to drop, possibly into the 130s by Monday, but still a good SFI. Expect some fading in both hemispheres at times through Monday. Noise floors S0 to S3 at times through the weekend. Voice bands Northern Hemisphere 20, 17, 15, 12 in the 10 meter band, and that'll be real north. That means way past 60 degrees. I would expect somewhere around 70 degrees north in the Northern Hemisphere to get 10 meters at some point of the day. Equatorial latitudes, that's tropic to tropic, 20, 17, 15, 12 in the 10 meter band. Southern Hemisphere 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10 if you're north of right about 40 degrees south right now. 10 meters going north in the Southern Hemisphere. So less of Australia and New Zealand are getting it, and certainly Africa has no problem getting it. Not all of South America is getting it as well. So some South America folks in the southern part of the continent are not on 10 right now. Nighttime amateur radio, QSB at times through Sunday. Expect noise floors to decrease this weekend. Nighttime amateur radio, bands 160, 80, 60, 40, 30. Remember, best EX, maximum usable frequency at sunset. Last night, maximum usable frequency on 10 meters closed just before sunset. On 12 meters, it was right at sunset. And on 15 meters, it was just past sunset. So Northern Hemisphere, look at 15. Looks really good, at least from the northwest, after sunset for a short time. Shortwave listeners, daytime shortwave, expect some fading at times. SFIs will decrease through the weekend, but still good conditions to work some great stations around the world. Good conditions, especially on 31, 25, and 22. Some amazing DX there. So shortwave daytime bands 31, 25, 22, 19, 15, and the 13 meter band. Nighttime shortwave, expect that fading to continue at times. Noise floors dropping though through the weekend, so great conditions for a shortwave nighttime DX. Shortwave bands nighttime 120, 90, 75, and 60, 49, 41, 31, 25, 22, and the 19 meter bands open to the Southern Hemisphere. This says 3 hours. It's about 2 hours now, and up to an hour past sunset here in the Northern Hemisphere. 19 meters has a lot of content for shortwave on it for people who like to DX the shortwave bands. The sunspot number progression for solar cycle 25 looks like this. Expect these numbers to go up dramatically in January. We've had some very, very high solar flux index numbers through that period of January. You can see the headphones like I got them halfway on. So sorry about that. The echo looks funny, and even the way I look today looks that way as well because the echo is so bad. We will be back with a full ham radio live show today. I'm excited to do it. I have a fun topic question for you, and wherever you may be, turn on your radio and have some fun this weekend. A lot of contests and special events are out there. Goodbye, everybody. God bless.